There we go. Now we're only internet famous on our channel. So just in case somebody looks, we wanted to know who we are.
Yeah.
So welcome to episode 318 of the Skillz Show with John Salama on my... I'm pointing to my left, but I think
your left.
To my right.
It's your left.
You're on my left?
Yes.
Right, cool. I can never tell with the camera.
I can tell with the logo on your shirt.
Oh yeah, yep. See, hold on, I'm sporting. We got our new Skillz with our rebranding for our school. We're taking everybody complete Skillz. There is no more 4GK or anything.
That's dope.
Except for the adult program is still 4GK, but we got some stuff in the works for that. So today we want to talk about some treasure that is buried right in front of your face that when we tell people about it, the response is very often, wow, I didn't even know that was there. Meanwhile, you probably stumbled over it 5 times, moved it out of your way while looking for something else. Well, good morning, Sensei John, here to visit with us. So what we're going to do today is we're going to dive into the Melody's free Skillz tips group. So if you are not a member of that group, it is completely free. It's where Melody and the team put out a ton of free information, everything from drills to teaching tips to marketing tips. All of the Skillz ambassadors are in there dropping stuff. So if you're not in that group, just search it, Melody Johnson's free Skillz tips group. I can't even say it. And just click join, and one of us will approve you there. Now, once you're in there, the posts that come through there are gold. Even stuff from other people asking questions, the questions tend to be of really high quality. However, most people forget one little piece of it here. Let me pull this up on the screen. There we go. So this is the group, Melody Johnson's free Skillz tips group. And if you were to come to this group, and along the top here, there's all these different categories, and you click on the files section. Now, files used to be a pretty big thing a couple of years ago in Facebook land, but I think it's been pushed to the back burner. However, every time something gets uploaded to this group, it goes in that file section. So what John and I are going to do today is just take you on a stroll through this file section, show you some of the things that are in there, and we're even going to pick out a few of our favorites and show you how to use it or what it's meant to us or ways that you can implement it. Now, if you are a Skillz member, don't forget that the licensed member group and probably the Storm Instructors group also have this treasure in there. So go take a peek, poke around. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, some of that stuff is really gold. And you don't have to be a Skillz member because it is in the free tips group to utilize it. Just be careful how you use it, but it's gold.
Yeah, so I've sorted these by oldest to newest. So you'll see that you can even see some of the evolution of Skillz here. The information itself doesn't change, though sometimes for some of the older documents, I think this oldest document here is from like 2013. Yeah, so that one's like 8 years old almost. The information still applies. Just the way that you apply it might take a little bit of thought. And then as we get newer and newer, you'll see that it just fits the current landscape of social media and the way that we run our Skillz schools. So let's start off right at the beginning. We've got a back to school article. This one is great. We usually break this one into pieces and we'll post it on our blog. And then we'll take those pieces and tidbits and put them on our Facebook page and direct people to our blogs. And usually, like, we start school in September. So usually we'll start this one around like the last week of July to start priming our retargeting engine.
So, let's clarify that real quick, because I don't want people to go, oh, we'll do ours in July too. No, we start schools early August. right? So our back to school stuff literally starts around the middle of June. Even though middle of June for us is like literally 2 weeks after they've let out already. Like they let out for us around the third week in May, give them a few weeks break, and then we're already rolling back into back to school stuff, back to school things, because you want to beat the crowd.
Yeah. So like for us, end of July for us means like 6 to 7 weeks before school starts,
Yep.
which is usually right around when our campaigns about training through the summertime and the effects of summer slide are coming to the end there. So we would have started that in May when school ends in the end of June. By the time we get to the end of those campaigns, there's a small break, and then we start right in with back to school stuff. So we get that going pretty early. Here's one, this school supply list. This is a great one. A lot of people, when they join Skillz, or they're asking about, what kind of equipment will I need if I join Skillz? Well, you only need what you have, and you need your imagination. But this is a great list that says some of the things that we use in classes, like agility rings and cones and certain types of pads. So it's a nice little list. It's certainly not a comprehensive list because, like I said, it's up to your imagination. Let's see, what else do we have here? Some good stuff. All right, so now as we get into these PDFs here, so these are some great articles that you can use for yourself, but you can also share pieces of this out to your community. So 5 behavioral sciences, that's a great one that will help you expand your own personal development as an instructor. But if you start talking about these things and rephrase it as for parents, it's a great one that you can put out there. Same thing with all these, dealing with distracting behavior. It's aimed at instructors, but with some minor tweaking, this information is great for coaches, teachers, parents, that sort of thing. And I think most of these articles probably follow that same pattern that you can easily.
They do. And one thing that we need to mention too is some of these articles have turned into podcasts that Melody have done, like dealing with distracting behavior. So make sure that you are also looking up, and it's probably going to come up later on, but don't forget to look up Melody. It's under Melody Schumann Breaks It Down, not Melody Johnson Breaks It Down.
Yeah, and it's available on Apple, Buzzsprout, Podbean, wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Yes.
So now here's some good stuff. A lot of people want to see like what Skillz is about. We've got a couple of these. These are just little kits. It's not a comprehensive kit of how to run a program, but there's a couple drills in there that you guys can use to test out how the flow works, learn how a Skillz drill works, and see how your students respond to it. So if you're interested, you can certainly download those and go through it. Here's some real gold. A lot of the trouble that we have as instructors, so some of the pain points that we have when working with kids, particularly younger children, is far less about how can I get them to do this, and far more about how can I manage my expectations of what a child is capable of and what typical behavior actually is. So this is a very brief version. If you pop it open, it's a couple sentences about each age group, each stage of development, and some things to look for. It's not as comprehensive as the Skillz University course, certainly not as in-depth as the stages of development course that John did in the Pediatric Ninja Specialist certification. But it'll help you moderate a little bit what you believe about what the kids should be able to do. And you'll start to see that some of the challenges that come up in class are actually the challenges that are supposed to come up in class. Kids are moving around because it's their stage of development and they need to move to learn. Kids are interrupting your drills to talk about dinosaurs because that's their stage of development and they need that connection with you, and that appraisal is not the right word. Approval, yeah. It's close. From you, and that's their stage of development. And when you learn how to expect and manage those interruptions, everything runs far smoothly, and it's usually far more about our understanding. So everything Skillz is rooted in these 4 documents, though we do tend to go a little deeper, a lot deeper. Everybody loves Nerf. I mean, what do you need to say about that? Everybody loves Nerf. Games. So here's some age-specific games. I know games is a polarizing subject in the martial arts. So while we do say we are game and play-based learning, there are a lot of instructors that say, I am not a daycare, I'm not a summer camp, I am not fun time, I'm a martial arts school. Games have no place in this environment.
I mean, I know we've touched on this before, but who doesn't like to have fun? Who doesn't like to enjoy themselves? I mean, if you're going to tell me that you don't go out with your friends, if you're going to tell me that you don't have a drink every now and then, if you're going to tell me that you don't have any hobbies, if you're going to tell me, I don't know what else to put in there, to be honest with you, but like, man, dude, go get a life, right? So if you're in there teaching martial arts and you're afraid to use the word game, everything is gamified. We're still doing martial arts. It's just gamified. And as long as you understand it and explain it in that term, there's no problem with it.
Absolutely. And you'll notice that a lot of the games that we play are actually related to the skills that we teach. Play is the work of childhood. And when you have taught certain skills, it's very easy for the child to replicate that skill in a vacuum. It's in a free form environment that they're going to be challenged to express that skill. The child can have really good behavior if everything is perfectly aligned.
Yes.
But if you put them out on the soccer field, do they still have good sportsmanship? Do they still have good agility? Do they still have good courage after they've been beamed in the face by the soccer ball? So the games actually help the kids play around with the skills that we've taught them and integrate them into what they know and understand, not just the knowledge that you told them, but what they know and have integrated into the fiber of their being. And I think this document right here, the cohesive classroom integration, will really explain why that game does belong in your class and where it best fits. So if your classes are still like, let me figure out what I'm going to teach today, I would definitely recommend checking out this document that shows you exactly how we set up a skill style class and some of the science that goes into it. Oh, let's see what else we have in here.
I like the starting class off right. That's a very important document right there.
Yeah, this is interesting because I just had this conversation yesterday with an instructor who they had 2 opinions about how to start off class between the instructors. And one was that time before class should be focus time where we were working on testing material and jumping right into getting extra martial arts. The other one was before class doesn't matter. Let the kids run around, let them climb on everything, let them play tag, whatever they want to do. And I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. We don't want it to become a burden in that couple minutes before class, but we also don't want anybody getting hurt. So starting class off right. And my advice was to find an activity that maintains a certain amount of decorum, but also is engaging and fun for the students. And it could be as simple as, let's all sit in a circle while we wait for our friends, talk about your day, build that connection, welcoming kids in and really getting them on the right foot, liking you and ready to engage in the lesson. So this document, I like that one. I'm glad you caught that. This Yes, I Can one, a lot of people use as their school talk. So if you need a school talk at any time, go for that Yes, I Can one. Let's see. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Children that bully. We all say we want to cure bullying. You will never cure bullying by helping the victims. Never, ever, ever, ever. If you want to cure bullying, you have to be ready, willing, and able to work with the bully. So this article will talk a little bit about that.
Storm team.
Storm team. So there's
I
three
think
storm team planners.
yes. A lot of schools do struggle because they don't have enough help on the floor, and they don't want to utilize the kids who have. Let me rephrase that: the students who have the nurturing abilities to help others.
Yeah, I see a lot of people struggle with the concept of a storm team too, because it turns into either, well, I just have kids that help in class, or it goes the other way where nobody can help in class until they've mastered every single martial arts technique, because if they're going to teach it, they have to be perfect. So it's like the two extremes going on. Whereas Storm Team for us is more about leadership, and teaching kids how to be good leaders in any environment. Of course, with martial arts being the framework that we explore as we talk about leadership. So by having a structured class where we're talking about leadership topics that we can then relate to how they'll use that as they assist in a martial arts class, it now becomes very valuable to students and parents. And it gives them the tools they'll need. So when you say, hey, go work with little Timmy over there, he's having trouble, they will be very attentive to little Jimmy's needs, or Timmy, I said, right? So little Timmy's needs, or eventually they might even see that little Timmy is struggling before you do and take initiative and go help him. So it's a pretty powerful program when done right.
Yep.
So let's see, we got a couple fall type things here. So let's see.
I don't know if you're down that far yet, but the parents coaching clinics.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that was a great one. We stopped doing this one just before the pandemic, and now we are automating it on our Teachable platform. But how many of you have had those challenges where it's like your student's been a student for a month and testing is coming up and they totally drop the ball and don't register for testing, or they didn't know that it was fun week, so they showed up to class anyway and started texting you, or they didn't know that they were supposed to bring sparring gear on Thursdays. They didn't know they were supposed to have sparring gear. The Parents Coaching Clinic is a great presentation. We do it like maybe once a quarter, once a cycle, and everybody that started in that cycle will come to that. We make it a fun event. It takes like what, about an hour or so.
Yeah.
The Q&A session, we get donuts from, we have Dunkin' Donuts across the street, so we'll bring in donuts and coffee and stuff. And just make it a fun event where we just,
hey, cheese and wine.
Well,
There's no kids involved.
I'm not going to say it hasn't happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just a chance for you to answer those questions. And it's great because it's a social event, and it's not a let me stand in front and tell you things. It's a let's talk about your kid's journey and everything that they're going to need and why we do what we do. And please stop me when you have questions. And now I'm also creating relationships. When parents have friendships in the school, they're less likely to let their kids quit. So it's a great social mixer event.
And, secretively speaking, parents like to be in the know. Sometimes we look at parents, we're like, man, they're not even paying attention to the child. They're not even this. They're not even that, right? We will have our own stereotyping. We will have our own assumptions, right? But if you really want to make sure that, your parents or your clients last longer, keep them in the know and keep them educated. And as long as you do that with, coaching clinics like those, you can even have 2 a month or 2 a quarter, right? One for the new ones and one for the current members. And we do parent skills classes.
We've had some current members come to them again, especially once their kids have changed programs. If they've graduated from core skills to extreme skills, they'd come back again just to see like, all right, let me pay a little more attention when he talks about that teen stage of development stuff, because all of a sudden I'm having trouble with my kid that used to be a really good kid. Now they're being all moofy and moody. Let me see what we can find out.
Yeah.
So it also becomes now like mentoring. So the older parents will take care of the newer parents. And we've worked, like John said, we worked parent skills into that as well. So we'll do a shorter parents coaching clinic and then a brief parent skills presentation as well. Let's see what else we got here. So here's a whole section on virtual stuff. So if you are still locked down, I know most places are either open or close to opening. So you don't necessarily have to worry about it. But there's a couple places in Canada and even some places in Europe I know that are still locked down, or they have temporary lockdowns. This was a whole bunch of content that we put out for the idea of what happens when you have to go virtual. Now, these particular documents, we have a parents' night out. So if you're soon to reopen and you want to reinvigorate everybody, this is still a great time to run a virtual parents' night out. And the pre-evals. Pre-evals is I think, a pretty unique concept to Skillz. I know other people do similar, but I don't think anybody does it with the same depth that we do in Skillz. There's a lot of connection built, a lot of discovery about stages of development, parents' desires and needs, and how you can best help. These virtual pre-evaluation documents are a best effort at taking this online. So now we are allowed to have people back in the school, but there are going to be times when it's just not feasible. Maybe you're running a one-man show and you just can't do it. A virtual pre-evaluation might still be appropriate. At the very least, you'll learn a ton about how we do pre-evals in Skillz. Now, Skillz members have access to specific trainings on each of these pre-evaluations about how to use them in sales processes, about things that we're looking for, and class placements. But even as a non-Skillz member, these will be valuable for you to get some pretty good insight into why we do it and how we do it.
Yep, absolutely. We don't even do anything else but pre-evaluations right now. We don't let them on the floor unless we do the pre-evaluation. It tells us a lot about the parents. It tells us a lot about the child. It tells us if they're going to be the right fit for our studio. And I know, I get it. Everybody should be the right fit, right? Not always.
Yeah, that's one thing. I saw a post by somebody that I really admire and respect as a marketer in our industry, saying that there's no such thing as a bad lead, that everybody should be coming in and it's just a matter of how much we've nurtured them. And while I agree as far as, I should be reaching out to everybody, I also do have finite space. And while maybe nobody is a bad lead and some people do need nurturing, some people are a flat out bad fit for my school.
That's what I was going to say. So there may not be bad leads, right? But it doesn't, again, it's kind of like when you get involved with someone, right? If the chemistry doesn't spark, doesn't make them a bad person, doesn't make you a bad person. It's just,
not at all.
It's just a matter of what's your culture like, and if they kind of fit in your culture, right? Because there are plenty of other schools out there. So we're not saying they're bad leads. We're just saying they may not fit, or we may not be the right fit for them.
Yeah, they may be a great lead, and I'm just not the great fit for them.
Exactly.
And usually when I have to turn away a student, that's how we'll phrase it. I just don't think we're the best fit for little Johnny's needs.
Yes.
So Sensei John wants to know, when in the beginning do you hold this? So I'm assuming that's for the Parents Coaching Clinic.
Yes. Yes.
We generally don't do it right smack in the beginning because we want people to sort of focus on what's going on. We'll do it kind of towards the middle of a cycle, so that it's, all right, now they've been in class a few times and they have a frame of reference, so that when I start talking about, how in class we do this, I want them to actually nod and say yes. I don't want them to go like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep.
But I also don't want it to start to interfere with our test prep, because then I want my team focused on prepping for testing, and that for us starts around week 6. So usually I'll hold this like around week 3 or so of a cycle. And it's flexible. If there's other things going on, parents' nights out, or, spring break or something like that, we'll shift it. It's not a huge deal. I don't think it's super time sensitive. I just like people knowing what I'm talking about when I get up in front of them.
Yeah, same about here.
So this is a great one too, the student-instructor ratios. So most Skillz schools, though not all, there are huge Skillz schools out there running tremendous classes, huge classes, and doing it well. But in general, we prefer a slightly smaller class with high levels of instructor interaction. So you'll start to see why, like when we talk about our marketing and the way we do our marketing, you'll see a lot of us will say, well, my programs are full right now. And that doesn't mean that I can't fit more bodies in my school. We did the math and we came out with a theoretical limit of 465 students that we could have in our school. We like to be between 125 and 165. That's our sweet spot because of student ratios. So it'll go into how we set ratios, the different age groups, some of the science behind it. Mostly it's because we want to maintain excellence in training. I would rather have 20 students on my floor getting better training, paying me far more than looking like a scene out of Enter the Dragon and, having things slip through the cracks and not being able to know every single student in my school. And I think that's personal preference to a point, but I do think it's one of the things that allows me to be the most expensive school in the area, for sure. Let's see, we've got about 3 minutes. Let's find one more thing that we like in here. I don't know what the action items is. I'm going to open it. I don't know if it'll show up because I think I'm sharing my tab and not. Yeah, it's going to download the thing.
The one about warming up the brain.
What is
While
this?
you're looking up into the action items.
The action items is just like a list of tasks for the team. All right. Yeah, so that's a.
Where is it?
All right. So what did you want to see?
Warming up the brain. How we use neurobics in the beginning of class to ignite.
Here, right there. Yeah, the warming up the brain one is a great one. It's one of the things that we incorporate into Skillz. So if you read the cohesive classroom integration, you'll see that in the beginning of our classes, we start with connection, then we go to warm-ups using a technique called neurobics, and then we go to mat chat because we want intellectual connections to everything that we do. So this will be a great document to show you a little bit how we do that. And it's easily implementable. You can implement this stuff like immediately after reading the document. So that is a quick look through some of the files that we have available in the group. Make sure that actually let me scroll back up top. Oh, it says it right there. All right. And I'm actually going to put the link. Copy. I'll paste that right into the comments so you guys could just click it. So if you're watching this and you are not in that group, go join it. And then, like I said, if you're a Skillz member, also go to the file section in the licensed members group. There is a ton of information in there. If you're a newer member, sometimes it's a little overwhelming joining a program like Skillz because there's so much, and you didn't have the benefit of following our evolution from, oh, here's some drills all the way up to, now we're leading college level classes in child development and psychology. So if you didn't have the benefit of following us with that journey, sometimes going back into the file section, you'll be able to get a glimpse of that journey and it'll make a little bit more sense to you.
Absolutely. And also don't forget like that little search button up on top. There's like, when you go into the file section, it might seem like it's maybe 20, 30 different files, right? But there is over 5 to 7 years of content in this group. Like it's a ton.
Not a file. Use the main search button.
Yes.
And just clicking that button and typing in any topic, it's probably been discussed.
Yes. It's all in there, and you'll be amazed how you can take, like, I know schools who are utilizing this group, and they're eventually become Skillz members because they're like, if this stuff is given to me for free and I can utilize it, imagine what you're going to get if you decide to become a Skillz school.
So one last tip is, if you are a Skillz member, especially the gold members, once you log into Skillz Connect, remember that there are 2 download sections. There is the download section in each of the modules. So early skills has a download section, basic skills has a download section. Go to the top of the site, click the little text link that says downloads. That'll take you to the main download section. Once that opens, on the left, there's a search box there too. You can put in almost any topic. There are something like 4,000 documents in the download section. And again, some of them are dated, especially like the marketing stuff. If it's more than a year or 2 old, probably not the latest, but very often it's good for inspiration. I'll steal stuff from years ago.
I was going to say, I mean, I totally agree with you, but there's still some gold nuggets in there, like stuff that you're going to go, wait a minute. Like, you might think it's dated, but if you just take it and just give it a facelift, you know what I mean, put it out there, it might be dated to you, but it's not going to be dated to your parents or your community. So,
yeah, and that's why we don't delete anything. You know, sometimes people say, well, if this document is old, you should just delete it. Well, no, because everything old is new again.
We're hoarders.
Yeah.
For information, or to information.
Yeah, I mean, it's our path of discovery. And you'll see, even with marketing nowadays, all of a sudden, Facebook is having a major identity crisis with the shifts in Apple. And, you know, they have solutions. So don't fear too much about it. They do have solutions. It's just that the solutions they have aren't as easy as they wanted it to be. So I don't think Facebook ads are going away, but interaction and direct interaction has been far more valuable lately. That's why Facebook wants you to be in groups. That's why TikTok has been such a great marketing tool for so many of us, because it's interaction. And then eventually people will get tired of interaction and they'll go back to just looking for those nice little, gimmicky sales things. The Skillz Dead Sea Scrolls. That's right. You fall into the cave of the download section while herding your ninja goats.
Yep.
All right, guys. So I hope you got something out of it. Or more importantly, I hope you go get something out of it. You know, go poke around, stick your nose in the archives and see what is there. And then, of course, if you are in other groups, I bet you they have something similar. So don't forget about the archives, the Dead Sea Scrolls, as it were.
And if you run across something and you don't understand it, again, that's what we're here for. It's not just like, oh, wait, I get it, but why do you do it that way? Like, I understand it, but what's the purpose behind it? The more educated you become in terms of why we do what we do and why we implement the things the way we implement it, it will definitely help you explain it better to your parents. And it will make you look like an expert.
It's almost like somebody should write a book about starting with why. I think that would be a really good book.
I mean, I don't know. Is there like,
I don't know if it would really work. I don't think anybody would read it.
I think Simon Sinek tried.
Yeah. That guy.
That guy.
All right, everybody. So go take a couple minutes, poke around, use that search bar. Like John said, if you need us, please reach out and we will do our best to assist. Otherwise, as always, there's nothing left to do but to go get it.
Crush the thirst of your week, everybody.